Shalom, brothers and sisters. In light of how the Western media and all the access we have to the usual news that goes out all across the world speaks about Russia and Putin and how they are in for imminent destruction and the end of them as we know them and everything, we need to remember the Bible clearly mentions they are there to play a big role, and they're there long after a lot of these other superpowers and big countries are no longer mentioned at all. So let's look at Russian support. You see articles like this all the time. Russia has already lost in the long run. Even if Moscow holds on to territory, the war has wrecked its future. The long goodbye. Why Russia is losing the war. Top US general says Russia has already lost the Ukraine war and has paid an enormous price on the battlefield. Now if we look at the world map, this is the world map by country, and we break this map up into pieces, and let's look at the countries, pretty much most of them, and see how they weigh in on the Russia situation on the world map. So we have NATO members. NATO members are made up of 30 countries. Albania, Belgium, Bulgaria, Canada, Croatia, Czech Republic, Denmark, Estonia, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Iceland, Italy, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Montenegro, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Portugal, the Republic of Macedonia, Romania, Slovakia, Slovenia, Spain, Turkey, UK, and the USA. And we know, we've done a video on this, Turkey's a Trojan horse, but we'll get to that. Wanting to join NATO, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Finland, Georgia, Sweden, and Ukraine. Now if we look at our first slide here, Alaska is obviously part of the USA, so opposed to Russia. Canada, opposed to Russia. Mexico, neutral, but declines to sanction Russia and is anti-American. So if the chips are down, Mexico on the American border would be pro-Russia. The Bahamas condemns Russia. Haiti, anti-US and West, pro-Russia and China. Belize, pro-Russia. Cuba, pro-Russia, economic and military ties. Guatemala condemns Russia. Honduras, pro-Russia. Jamaica, pro-Russia and a trade partner. Dominican Republic, pro-Russia. Puerto Rico, pro-United States, anti-Russia. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, pro-United States, anti-Russia. Now we look at the next one. Barbados condemns the attack on Ukraine, but is not anti-Russia due to trade options. Trinidad and Tobago condemns Russia. Suriname, pro-United States because of oil options. French Guiana is French, anti-Russia. Guyana, pro-Russia. Grenada, pro-Russia. Venezuela, pro-Russia with trade and military. Colombia, pro-Russia. Ecuador condemns Russia but trades with them in a big way. Peru, pro-Russia. Chile, pro-Russia. Bolivia, known as the little bear because she loves Russia so much and she has trade and military ties with Russia. Paraguay, pro-Russia. Uruguay, pro-Russia. Argentina, pro-Russia with trade and military agreements. Falklands, UK contested, and Russia has spoken up for the Falklands a couple of times about independence. Next slide. Denmark, anti-Russia, obviously part of NATO. Norway, part of NATO, tense, sitting on a border with Russia. Iceland, part of NATO, unfriendly to Russia. Africa. Morocco, a US ally, but neutral in the whole situation with Russia. Mauritania, pro-Russia with economic ties. Senegal, pro-Russia. Sierra Leone, pro-Russia. Gambia, pro-Russia with trade and military ties. Liberia, pro-Russia. Ivory Coast, pro-United States, anti-Russia. Burkina Faso, pro-Russia. Nigeria, pro-Russia with military ties. Niger, pro-United States, so anti-Russia. Algeria, pro-Russia. Tunisia, pro-Russia, dependent on them for food. Libya, anti-war, but military ties with Russia. Sudan, anti-war, neutral. Egypt, pro-Russia, with trade options. Chad, pro-United States, but at the same time is courting Russia for better relationship. Congo, pro-Russia. Ethiopia, pro-Russia with military and trade agreements. Uganda, pro-Russia. Kenya, pro-Russia and European Union. Tanzania, pro-Russia. Angola, pro-Russia. Zambia, friendly towards Russia but anti-war. Zimbabwe, pro-Russia. Mozambique, pro-Russia. Somalia, pro-Russia. Namibia, pro-Russia. South Africa, obviously with Russia. Madagascar, pro-Russia. So as you can see, Africa pretty much Russian. Chinese as well, by the way. Those two countries are entrenched in Africa more than any European country. Next slide. Mongolia, pro-Russia. China, pro-Russia, obviously best friends. India, pro-Russia. Bangladesh, pro-Russia. Nepal, anti-Russia. Myanmar, pro-Russia. Laos, pro-Russia. Vietnam, pro-Russia. Indonesia, pro-Russia. Philippines, pro-Russia. Thailand, pro-Russia. Malaysia, pro-Russia. Taiwan, obviously anti-Russia. North Korea, pro-Russia. South Korea, neutral, and trade agreements with Russia. Interesting. Australia and New Zealand, anti-Russia. Next one. Now here is where we get all our information from, so now it'll make sense to you. Sweden, NATO applicant, anti-Russia. Finland, NATO applicant, anti-Russia. UK, NATO. Ireland, anti-war and sanctions Russia, but trades with Russia. Slovakia, NATO. Estonia, NATO. Latvia, NATO. Lithuania, NATO. Belarus, pro-Russia. Poland, NATO. Romania, NATO. Germany, NATO. But we're going to come back to Germany. France, NATO. Spain, NATO. Portugal, NATO. Italy, NATO. Greece, NATO. Turkey, Trojan horse NATO and very pro-Russia. Bulgaria, NATO. Georgia, NATO applicant. Azerbaijan, Russian ally. Turkmenistan, pro-Russia. Uzbekistan, pro-Russia, trade and energy partner. Kyrgyzstan, pro-Russia. Tajikistan, pro-Russia. Afghanistan, pro-Russia. Pakistan, pro-Russia with economic ties. Armenia, pro-Russia with military and cooperations. Iraq, neutral on the war, pro-Russia. Jordan, pro-Russia and partners. Syria, pro-Russia and military and wanting a bigger presence of Russia in her country. Iran, pro-Russia. Bahrain, pro-Russia. UAE, pro-Russia. Saudi Arabia, pro-Russia. Oman, pro-Russia. Yemen, pro-Russia and dependent on them for food. Belgium, NATO. Bosnia and Herzegovina, NATO applicant. Croatia, NATO. Hungary, NATO. Luxembourg, NATO. Montenegro, NATO. Netherlands and Slovenia, NATO. And there you have it. Now, if we look at BRICS, we've looked at NATO, 30 countries. BRICS members is 5 countries. It stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. Those are the founding countries in the BRICS setup. Now, wanting to join is Algeria, Argentina, and Iran. They should be joining this year. Interested in joining and attending meetings already, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, Egypt, Afghanistan, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Senegal, Thailand, and the UAE, and Germany. If accepted, the new proposed BRICS members would create an entity with a GDP 30% larger than the United States, over 50% of the global population, and in control of 60% of global gas reserves. This is more or less what the picture would look like with all those countries added in, not even adding in countries like Germany that's interested as well. Gives you a different picture of what we're being sold all the time in the media. That's why you need to take what the media says with a grain of salt. Now, to come back to the Bible, Gog and Magog of Ezekiel 38 and 39, the nations that make up the alliance in modern day names, these are the people that are going to come up against Israel, are Russia, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Sudan, Ethiopia, Libya, Algeria, and most importantly, Turkey. That would be Rosh, Magog, Persia, Cush, Put, Meshech, Tubal, Gomer, Beth Togarmah. The nations that will be opposed to the attack on Israel, i.e. the ones who will speak out against it, Saudi Arabia, known as Sheba and Dedan in the Bible, and Europe, known as Tarshish. No mention of United States or Canada at this stage. So is Russia disappearing off the scene? Are they finished? Are they destroyed? I don't think so. I'm going to go with what the Bible says and what prophecy says is coming. God deals with Russia, not NATO, not America, not the UK, not anybody else. God. Shalom.